Okay, I'm gonna call this Conservation Committee meeting to order Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 4:37 PM or something. I'm Taryn McGregor.
Dorothy Findlay.
John Hoff.
Carlos Salinas.
Okay, and the first item on our agenda is to receive correspondence from the zoning official regarding review powers of the commission, which is the memo.
You did talk, I know, Carlos had asked more of what your responsibilities are. So Jen pulled from the ordinances where conservation is needed and what you can and what all the things that are listed, what you should do, what you may be asked to do, and if there's anything you want to be doing.
Does anyone have any additions, I guess, that I'd like?
If you have questions that you're not clear on that I can ask for her, or questions about things that you could do in the future,
Carlos, I know that you had something that you wanted to potentially ask, so you take the floor.
So thank you. And I'm very appreciative of the memo and the accompanying documents with definitions. I thought that was very useful. Obviously, it's going to take a little while to soak it all in.
It is a lot to absorb. We're not expecting you to absorb it overnight, but any questions, again, I can get more info too if you need, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it'll be, and you know, one of the things I'd like to do, and maybe with your guidance, a lot of the action items are passive in the sense that when the building official sends us this or when some other body sends us information. So I'd like to review this probably in time for the next meeting with an eye of what's the proactive side of the commission. The other thing I was looking at was forget what the name of it is. I think it's a part of the comprehensive plan. And there's 20 or 25 items that are responsibility of the Conservation Commission. Some of those look very much like proactive items, like conduct an inventory, enact guidelines, develop a management plan for this, that, or the other. So I think that's something we want to maybe look at. Because that's a lot of on the plate in terms of things that according to the town, we should be doing. That's it's like this. Exactly. And it was included, it was included in either your or Jen's email, yeah.
I definitely didn't get that either, but.
No, I got it, but I don't think I printed it.
Yeah, I love these.
Yeah, some of them I think could be resolved with an infographic, something like that.
Sounds good. And also like dividing them up per meeting, like something.
Right.
Yeah.
Make a plan.
Sure.
One of the things that we did years ago when we had Hurricane Sandy is that our commission, undertook the installation of snow fencing, along all the accesses to the beach, and Byra came up with about $5,000 to buy the snow fencing, and the members of this commission worked as a team and put that together on the beach. I mean, you can't find, they're buried now, you can't find that snow fence. But that was one of the things in a proactive sense that we did. Okay, that was after, a historic storm.
Another thing that caught my attention, and I think it was either in Jen's memo or in the applicable regulations by the state, it did say I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly which one, but it definitely caught my eye. It did say something about trying to coordinate with the non-state actors, with unofficial bodies. And that seemed interesting. Like, the way I interpreted it was, and I don't assume it's the right interpretation, that somehow we would connect with various bodies like Nature Conservancy Block Island, Conservancy Committee, yeah. And that seemed kind of an interesting idea to sort of all of us be in the same room kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about that last time
Right.
too, is like really in.
Well, I think we're slowly starting that because the Coastal Resiliency Committee did ask to meet with us, and there are members planning on joining us in January for our January
Oh, good.
meeting. Laurel and I were able to work that out and put the invite out, so I know that that's a start of it, so baby steps. That's a
I don't
start.
think it's all gonna happen at once.
Traveling, I mean, that's
all
also a lot of people to get into the same room at the same time when we all.
Amy will be a part of this, and Amy's very proactive.
So,
it's gonna be
We
wonderful.
are starting that process, but we can always make a list for future meetings or plan future
Yeah.
meetings to talk with people as well, if that's something you guys are
I think
interested in.
I think that having just like a part of the memo potentially like with a bulleted list of proactive things could be helpful for everyone to just refer to as a resource. Like we can decide like out of that list, what feels most pertinent, and then
We can also,
give certain aspects of those pertinent ideas to certain meetings, as we can just filter through obviously like the applications and stuff like that that come first, but.
I can put an agenda item for the next meeting to set some time to make a proactive list.
Yeah,
That way you guys have time to review what she gave and we can go off those first. And then we can either add or take away
Yeah.
depending on,
And I
that way
think-
you get to look at the
I do
comprehensive
think that
plan.
it's important for the Conservation Commission to review all things that have some sort of environmental impact, like you said the other towns in Rhode Island, everything goes through Conservation Commission.
Sometimes and not necessarily Rhode Island, we just have found that some conservation commissions
Okay,
do
yeah.
that. But not all of the forms require
Right,
conservation, approval.
gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think I have, Glennie LeBaron, when she was at, Nature Conservancy, did a sort of a quick survey. And I think she had some, examples of other towns' conservation commission. I could try to forward that. if you'd
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, that could be
Find it
helpful,
useful.
for sure. Cool. Anyone have any other opinions or additions to the
Well, there
memo?
was a meeting earlier or last week where the seawater level commission has now become,
Resiliency.
close to resiliency. And I attended that meeting and they had a very lengthy checklist of things that they went through. So we should really make ourselves aware of that checklist. I wish I had brought it with me, okay?
Right,
I mean, we can copy it out to you guys. And so that we don't have redundancy in that regard.
well, I think that that's the purpose of the January 14th meeting too, like we'll be able to all co-collaborate and see like where we can all work together on a similar topic, but with different roles pertaining to different commissions. Cool. Everyone happy with that agenda item? Yeah, okay. We're gonna move on to review the Quinn Thomas Plat 5 Lot 85. Discuss and act on a recommendation to the building and zoning official regarding an application to Coastal Resources Management Council for an accessory residential structure. personally, I think that they have their environmental boxes checked as far as I can see on all of the landscape plans. But I'm wondering if anyone is seeing something that I'm not. Because I don't think that it is outlandishly large or detrimental to the landscape in any way. John?
I think appropriate for the property, okay.
And it's not destroying anything that isn't already blank. The property has basically zero foliage of any sort. It's completely bare. This is completely dead space in the lawn. It's actually very close to the road on the top of the hill there. And so because they have the hay bales and the other environmental erosion control measures already put into the building plans, I think that it's gonna be more than, like you said, John, appropriate for the site. But anyone else have it?
I have a more general question. I mean, it's applicable to this. During the last meeting, I felt more comfortable in what we were deciding because John had been there. And he reported to the committee. I went there, I checked it out, this is what I'm seeing. Is there any process whereby we can rely on somebody having been?
I lived on this property.
Okay,
That's like, I'm giving my person, that's why
Got
I
it.
said it's kind of dead space.
Right.
I-
okay.
But yeah, if you feel called, everyone kind of is allowed to go to see
Right.
any property, so.
We
can
just have to give notice.
Huh?
You just have to give notice. You
Yeah.
don't want to just show up, but we can definitely.
I kind of have, I just show up, but no, they're never good. No one's ever good. But you can just show up, or you could have that group chat that we have. You know, if you want to say, is anyone going to see this property? That's on thing, like, we can all collaborate to see who wants to go see it. But in the past, we all kind of just went and checked it out on our own time. And then came with like, cause sometimes like John would see stuff about like the particular plans and I'm over here like with a magnifying glass on like the native plants that can't be destroyed. You know what I mean? So like each person is going to see different parts of the property that reflect on what they're focused on in their mind. But it's like completely, that's totally allowed. Like you're allowed to just go and visit them.
And I wonder too, I mean, is there, like, for instance, this land surveying map that we have? It has a lot of claims on it, that there's bales of hay, that there's this, that, and the other. I mean, when this arrives, are we to assume that no one else has verified the information on the?
No, this is coming, this particular advisory is coming from the building official and the zoning official, which means they've already started the process. So that things have been checked.
So this, when it says the erosion control program, sedimental,
Right.
that's all been checked by somebody.
Yes,
That we
but
can
this
trust.
is, so this plan is not in place yet. This is what they want to be doing.
Yeah, like no, nothing's
So,
approved.
So nothing's been
We-
approved
that's our
yet.
job. Like, we're like to say if that's cool or not cool, you know? So, and also, like, the contractor that's contracted for this job is responsible for all of the stuff that is on this plan being carried out. Like, that's their liability.
So in this particular case, again, I think it's a good case for it since, because it doesn't appear to be controversial. But, you know, the erosion control, sedimentation control, the safeguards that are there. I mean, I can imagine somebody being able to say, yes, we're gonna do right by this place with all the bells and whistles. And we all agree, zoning agrees, et cetera, et cetera. But when push comes to shove, that's may not necessarily be what happens.
It-
Who checks?
So the
whether-
building, the The building official, they are there multiple times throughout the process because every step of the project, almost, they have to get an inspection. And most of the I mean, they're probably at most of the projects, if not every other week, every other week. They check them regularly. So,
And also if there were to be a problem, like they're gonna submit a claim to like CRMC. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, then it would come back to us. Like, if they were to say like, there's not stuff in place, like that's like gonna be like a CRMC issue with the contractor
Right.
slash business.
and no one's here shy about turning somebody in if they didn't do
No,
something
they're
right.
not, they're not.
And
Yeah.
Carlos, my only other concern was, whether the septic was adequate. But I see that the plans are on here, so that has to have been checked by the building official.
Yeah,
So I think we can assume that the septic.
The building official and the DEM has to approve them.
Thank you all very much.
yeah, like, we're all learning together. It's wonderful. Okay, so how is everyone feeling about item agenda 3, or agenda item 3, which is what we were just talking about now, the Quinn plans? We feel that the size is appropriate, the environmental, barricades are in place. So is it fair to make a motion on this as a favorable motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we're gonna pass the Quinn Thomas Plot 5, Lot 58 with a favorable motion from the Conservation Commission. Moving on to agenda item 4, invite the Coastal Resiliency Committee to the January 14th, 2025 meeting and discuss topics for discussion. They have been invited.
They have been
They
invited.
have been invited, for the record. And we did kind of just talk about the topics for discussion. So does everyone want to just review the items that Carlos held up there? What was that paper?
It was a comprehensive plan.
The comprehensive plan. If everyone wants to find a few things that they want to bring to the January 14th meeting based off of the comprehensive plan that are proactive for the Conservation Commission to potentially look at, and then all of us will then tally notes with the Coastal Resiliency Commission and see where things overlap,
I like that.
right?
Can I give you guys like 3 topics a piece? Is that
Yeah,
3? Is that, I feel like you're not all gonna pick the same thing. And I know that they're gonna have a lot too. So if I give you 3 topics of
3
the
topics a piece. That's easy.
right?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's.
And if
fair.
you need me to do
Carlos,
any
what do you think?
research, I don't want to overwhelm you guys with things to autumn, like, you know,
Yeah, if you have a passionate feeling towards one thing, you can
Right.
stick with one, but if you have 2 more, also add 2 more, right?
So I guess the question is, are we thinking about topics that we would jointly work with them or topics that we would fan out from?
I feel like it would be more productive rather for them to have their own vibe and us to have our own vibe and then come together as needed.
So what I could offer to do, I'm very close with the Coastal Resilience Committee,
Thing,
like super close.
like, is it?
Like we sleep in the same bed kind of thing. So,
Bed with the-
for the record, it is true.
I love it.
Not the whole committee. Yeah. For any audience out there, Kim Gaffett clarified that it's not with the entire committee, just one member.
This is a great meeting to rewatch. Everyone on YouTube is laughing.
So what I suggest is they've been a very, and I go to their meetings as well once in a while, and they've been engaged now in over 2 cycles, setting priorities and divvying up amongst themselves different areas to work on. So what I could do is take this list, the comprehensive plan list that's in our bailiwick, and see how much of that overlaps with
Yeah.
what they're already planning on doing, and I could send a memo out, not for discussion over email, of course, but just an information provision of these are the items that they're already working on
Yeah.
or that they've already divvied up, and then do the exercise of these are the items that are not anywhere on their radar screen. And then that way we'll winnow the list down a little
Yeah, and I
bit.
feel like at the January 14th meeting as well, we'll be able to kind of just have an organic conversation about potential ways to like continue to take proactive measures on both of our sides. Is that Carrie?
That sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So any other additions or opinions on agenda item 4?
I'll make sure I have it all. So Carlos is gonna compare the list
Yeah.
and then about proactive measures. Is there anything specific besides making sure we're not doing, for lack of better terms right now, doing the same work as them?
I think that's gonna be ironed out at the 14th
Okay.
meeting. I mean.
No, I know. I'm
yeah.
putting that as making sure that we're not, because work smarter, not harder, like don't do the same thing. But is there anything specific? Or we'll get there once we get through the topics. I was gonna say specific
But I think
topics.
too, because he said he was gonna look through
Yep.
and see what they're already doing from that list and what's like out there
Yeah.
and the unwanted child. And so that we maybe would take up the unwanted children.
I can't imagine any work would be
I don't,
even looked at until after
right,
the January 14th meeting.
100%. I'm just
So
making sure I have,
anyways, no, we are gonna take a little bit of a hiatus here until January 14th is what I'm feeling for.
that's fine. I just want to make sure I have the agenda right when I write the agenda.
But having like having the actual items and knowing what they're working on versus what we could potentially work on is gonna be a great thing to talk about at January 14th. So, yeah, do you feel like you've got that down? Cool. So moving on, yes? Kim,
You asked them if they, if you had an application that you want to advertise on. Might they be able to help by you on. You know,
absolutely. That's genius. And also to help us better inform our applicants too on different things that they could potentially look out for before they go before the sea level rise committee, you know, stuff like that too. So that would be, that's a
I
addition.
was gonna say, that doesn't, not the same function.
They don't do the same thing. Well, then we definitely need their information and their advice for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, like, when the town questions engineering decisions, they'll contact Jim Jeremia, who's the town engineer. It works as the same function. We would be able to
And like
ask.
we had the guy from the water company come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be that type of function because the applications don't go through their board like they do these.
But it would be really easy to contact the sea level rise.
Oh, yeah,
committee.
yeah, yeah.
We have-
Yeah.
Yeah. We would get someone in here.
Right.
Yeah,
It's,
perfect.
we definitely, it's very, I mean, between Carlos, but Laurel is their clerk as well. So we would be able to get a hold of everybody.
I mean, I think it's a collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's ideal. Thank you for that, Kim. Thank you for that because that's such an
Are there
important. point.
are there
Sure.
other things like sea level rise that we would tie into? Are there, I mean, maybe there are committees or groups that I'm
Yes.
aware of?
There's 100% a lot of groups that that's the group we're starting with.
You saw there. There were over 100 items on there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We're gonna take baby steps and we're gonna all hold hands and work together. Okay, awesome. I like that. Love it. Moving on. Yes, everyone in favor? Okay, we're gonna go to number 5 on the agenda item of approval of October 29th, 2024 minutes. Do I have that paper? Thanks.
You normally check if everyone's read them and if anyone has any corrections. I'm trying to go paperless with the minutes. I'm very grateful for everybody for letting me do that. But if you want paper copies, let me know. I'm just trying to save a little paper. I kill a lot of trees. And I figure we are conservation. We should probably make an effort. Okay. Everything is on Clerkbase, which is online. And should be. If it's not, please let me know. But everything should be on Clerkbase. Or you can email me and I can get you a copy.
I felt the student was kind of nonplussed by some of our recommendations. Underwhelmed.
I haven't heard from them yet. I figured I would give, I know it's probably around finals right now, so I figured I'd send an email because I mean, it had to, they were telling me that it needed to be due for finals, so. Right?
So we're gonna approve the October 29th. Oh, I will make a motion to approve the
I'll second.
October 29th, 2024 minutes. John seconds that motion. Everyone in favor? Aye. Okay, wonderful. Moving on to adjournment. Wow. Okay, so now, does anyone have any last thoughts? We're good?
Yeah, I have one last thought. Sorry, I was late.
Oh.
I do
We're on
apologize.
island time.
Still.
No problem. And I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
Dorothy seconds that. All in favor?
I.